So this is another shoot kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum where it was very highly staged, very highly stylized, big crew. So this was about $75,000 budget for this shoot. The objective was to take, I think we did, yeah, so 20 different looks on two revolving sets on two stages. So the revolving sets means that, we'd be shooting on two different sets. And then when I'm shooting one, the other one is being dressed and changed. And then we go shoot that one. And then the last one that we shot would be changed. So 2 days of that and photo and video, take home was about 25K. But like this one, there was $10,000 in lighting equipment rentals and about 20 head units between photo and video between both sets. So lots and lots of lights. Crew on this one was about 13 people, one pre-light day and two shoot days, photo and video. I was directing the motion. And then this one, I got the job through a local producer that I've worked with a lot in the past, who's a good friend of mine. She's great. And yeah, I've done some other kind of work for furniture companies. This was for wood paneling, but kind of fit the bill. And yeah, she thought of me. So deliverables on this was originally 50 images, but the client ended up loving the images so much that they bought 32 additional images.
Great,
So it was another great way to, make a little bit extra more money on this.
great.
So again, my approach to lighting is really just making it look natural, making it feel believable. Like these are real world environments. Like we just went to someone's home and shot, and these are all shot in the studio. And again, when we get to the BTS, you can see that. But lots of lights. I mean, this I can't recall. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 9 lights on this, all with different modifiers and gels and stuff like that. But yeah, lots of equipment, lots of lights. So, and obviously these ones are a little bit more, again, and sterile too. Like it's not like the most exciting, but these are jobs like this that pay the bills. And I really get excited on jobs like this to make it look as beautiful as possible.
Right.
But I'm a portrait photographer. I love portraiture, but and that's where, like, as a commercial photographer, you just have to be ready, I think, to you're a business and you're selling services to clients. And you can definitely like you can niche into certain things depending on your market. Smaller markets have a tendency to need more generalist. Larger markets you can niche in a little bit better. And here in Phoenix, we're kind of a small market for
Yeah.
photography. And so I take a lot of jobs, to pay the bills and do stuff where I'm shooting stuff like this, where a client needs, shots of their wood panels. And how can we make that look as cool as possible?
Right.
It looks cool.
Thank you. So yeah, so same thing here, just lots of lights going through. We got like overhead ultra bounces, so shooting light into that, lights coming through the fake windows we have here on the left, making sure that it all looks believable and motivated. I like a lot of gobos, things that create light and texture. So always usually adding something kind of in front of the light to kind of break up patterns on the wall.
Of course, this might be obvious, but the subject is the panel on the back wall,
Correct.
right? Everything else is just sort of staging in front of that.
Correct. Yeah, and so that was, the kind of the fun part too is just how do we make these a wall be the
Yeah.
hero?
Yeah.
A very, especially in photography, you usually want to show depth, right? And you want to show kind of a not so 2D framing and composition. And so when you have to shoot, not that every one of these is perpendicular to the wall or parallel to the
Mhm.
wall, but all these the wall panels had to be the hero. So trying to create interesting light textures and
Mhm.
staging. That's where, like, in commercial photography, we had a set designer on this. We had a set
Right.
builder on this. We had a prop stylist. And so that's where, no photographer, especially in commercial photography, is a one man band. You have everyone's playing a role and they're doing their role well. And you gotta trust. And obviously you speak up and I like this, or let's change this. But it's really trusting and getting a good crew and a good team to come together and make a really good finished product for the client. So none of these images would ever be what they are without all the rest of the crew. So I really, really am grateful for all them. So here you can see, like, these are big rooms, this was a big stage here in Phoenix. So we have this white overhead. This was a 20 by ultra bounce. So we got 4 heads blasting in that just to create some soft light overhead. We have the set wall here. with multiple heads shining through that. And then we'd have a second wall, which you can't really see back here, but light going through that and matching that kind of on both sets here. So then you can see it. I'm a very hands-on photographer, sometimes to a fault where, I have assistants to do something, and if I have the second, I'll go and run and do it. I'm very much, try and lead by example and not just by authoritative, you know, command.
Hey,
Yeah, so a little video, but you can see it, right? Where
Correct.
he's
Oh, no, no, it's three back. That's most recent.
Oh,
what's
I
happening
moved the
here?
camera, so you can see there's, lots of people on set. I think between client, crew, everyone, there's probably close to 20 people there, all doing their job. Digitech is organizing files, giving them their naming conventions, looking for any obviously things that need corrected and fixed. He's my first assistant, Brian. He's amazing. I actually used to assist Art Stryber, who's another, probably like the commercial photographer. But so he brings a lot of knowledge to me, which is really, really, amazing and makes my life better. Where, I think as hard as a photographer earlier on, you have to wear all the hats. And until you can make it to a point where you can start hiring people who are better than you, like
Right.
Brian is a great lighting tech, a great first assistant. So he teaches me things all the time of how I can refine and make things better. And so it's just such a great working relationship with him that we, you know, get the best results possible.
That's great. I have a question just logistically. So to get the job, you probably had to bid it, right? And so you priced out, how many people you would need for it. And then when you got the job, did you meet with the team before the day of the shoot so you guys could prep or, what was the logistic process?
Yeah, so this one was a little bit individualistically different from most shoots I do. So because the producer who got me the job, she bid everything out for the
Nice.
client. She actually won the job, not me,
Okay.
which is not typically how things go.
Right.
And so she threw out a couple different estimates and didn't ended up we were too high. And so we actually ended up making some cuts just to get to this. And yeah, so we made some sacrifices on that. And I actually ended up just the pre-light day was not billed in or estimated in to the final job. We had to cut that from the finances. But the producer and I just kind of took a cut out of our cost to pay the crew to show up on a pre-light day.
Yeah.
Because we knew for how many different 20 different sets, photo and video, we weren't gonna get all that done and light all of those into
Right.
it. So we made the sacrifice and the call to hire the crew out of pocket for a pre-light day. Again, not something that's great. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Take home was still good enough for me, and I wanted to just make sure the client walked away really happy because, again, their headquarters are moving some stuff here to Phoenix, and so it could be a
Right.
chance to grow the relationship and have ongoing work. I'm really big on that. I've had a
Sure.
lot of clients over the last 3 to 4 years, post COVID, really. Usually I have about 2 to 5 clients that are happy to spend, you know, almost, sometimes up to 6 figures each through routine work throughout the year. So you
Nice.
get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of those and, like, you start making comfortable money and you can actually grow into your career. And I'm always looking to find ways to get clients to keep coming back.
Well, and like you said, they originally thought they were only going to purchase a certain amount of images, but because the quality of the images were what they wanted, they bought more. And I think that investment on the front end paid off in the end and in
Yeah.
the future, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's again, it's obviously using discernment to figure out when you should apply that, and it can be
Right.
really hard early on to know to have the wisdom to know what's beneficial to you.
Right.
But I'm always looking for ways. Like I've taken really cheap jobs because I knew it would be great for my portfolio.
Sure.
And not that you should use that as textbook and do that all the time.
No.
But you should use discernment. It's like, okay, well, maybe it's only a 4,000 job or a $2,500 job, but I'm shooting this person and it's a very recognizable person. They'll look at my book
Right.
and humans are predictable. And if they see that, you look more commercially viable, blah, blah, blah. Stuff like that. It's just always using discernment to figure out is a job worth it or not. Because sometimes jobs don't always pay in money. They and not that paying in experience is a good way to undercut photographers, but not every job is worth turning down if it has a low budget, is all I'm
Right.
saying.
No, it makes sense. It depends on if you have a job that doesn't pay as much, but it's going to get to a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
again, sometimes it's worth I've taken on jobs where big national brands like ASICS, where like I did a job for ASICS that was pretty cheap budget. You know, I was out in northern Arizona for a couple days, and I got to take home a couple grand, but it wasn't great budget wise. But I got to shoot for ASICS and shoot some Olympic runners, and I have a lot of clients who, when they go through my book, those are some of their favorite images. So
Yeah, it's great.